Greetings, Poke fans. Michael here. So I got a little something in my throat, so if I sound kind of funny in this video, it's just because Today I'm back to answer another Pokemon question, but I'm also joined by Bird Keeper Toby, Pokemon theorist and Bird Keeper.
Hey there Pokemon Masters, Bird Keeper Toby here, and chances are if you're a massive Pokemon fan like us, then you've played at least one of the Hoenn titles. And one of the favourite quests in these games is catching the Regi trio.
Now finding Regirock, Regice, and Registeel is no easy task. You have to locate the sealed chamber, interpret the braille there,
Or just Google what to do.
You have to interpret the braille there, use dig at the back wall to open it, interact with the writing on the back wall in there with Wailord and Relicanth in specific positions in your party, which will then open the tombs across the region, which you then have to travel to, and then do even more extraneous stuff inside them to open the back chambers of those tombs where the Pokemon finally are.
So actually gaining access to these Regis is quite the involved task. So the question we're going to seek to answer today is, why? Why is it so difficult and ridiculous?
Let's look at this piece by piece. First, the sealed chamber. As I said before, you have to use dig on the back wall to open the deeper chamber. Once you're in there, interacting with the writing on the back wall, with Wailord and Relicanth in specific positions in your party, one of them first, one of them last, depending on the game, then the tombs will open. But why do you need dig and Wailord and Relicanth to open the tombs?
We think that the ancient people who sealed away the Regis once upon a time were honouring the land and the sea, a central theme in the Hoenn games. Dig is honouring the land, and the two water Pokemon are the sea. And these aren't the only references to the land and the sea. The Pokemon that you have to capture themselves are also references to land and sea, with Wailord being based off a whale, a creature that once evolved from a land creature to an ocean dweller, and with Relicanth being based off the Coelacanth, the creature that's said to be an early ancestor to a lot of land life.
Not only do these tasks represent land and sea, but we think that these feats are there to test if the trainer is worthy enough to unlock the Regi's tombs. The writing on the back wall talks about how the people sealed the Pokemon away because they feared it. We believe that this Pokemon is Regigigas, the leader of the Regis, and a Pokemon powerful enough to move continents.
They likely sealed away these Regis to cripple Regigigas, as you have to have these three Regis present in order to summon Regigigas in all of the games that they're in. These people probably desperately didn't want Regigigas just unleashed into the world, and they wanted to make sure whoever unlocked him was worthy enough to control him.
We actually believe that finding Wailord and Relicanth is also a test of worthiness. According to the stories told by Zinnia, Groudon and Kyogre fought regularly until they were quelled by Rayquaza for the first time 2,000 years ago. Since people lived in the sealed chamber, chances are it wasn't always underwater. The sealing away of the Regis likely occurred during a time when Groudon was stronger, and therefore sea levels were lower and the cave wasn't underwater. That also means that Wailord and Relicanth would be very hard to find, since according to their Pokedex entries they both live very deep in the ocean, so having them would be a test of the trainer's worthiness. And it's also possible that sea levels were just lower naturally that long ago, but even so, it'd still be harder to find them.
In fact, just using the move Dig to get into the chamber may well have been a test of worthiness in and of itself. After all, TMs and HMs probably didn't exist in the same way that they did back then 2,000 years ago. They probably didn't exist at all. In fact, they would have had to have caught a Pokemon that could learn Dig naturally, of which there's only two in all of Hoenn. One of which is Trapinch, which there's something very interesting about, but let's just backtrack a little.
Once you've unlocked the Desert Ruins, Island Cave, and Ancient Tomb, you're still required to do ridiculous things to enter the individual chambers. Two of them require HM moves, Strength and Fly for Regirock and Registeel respectively, and Regice's chamber, the one that eventually reveals Regigigas in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, requires you to wait patiently. Patience and strength are two virtues that represent the slow-starting Goliath himself, Regigigas, which makes sense since they would want the trainer encountering Regigigas to be able to master it. Fly is a bit more interesting though.
Once again, seeing that HMs didn't exist, they would have had to have caught Pokemon that could learn Fly naturally. There's only two Pokemon in the whole of the Pokemon games that can do this, and that is Salamence and Rayquaza. Rayquaza aside from now, the only way you can get a Salamence in Hoenn is by capturing a Bagon, which is by far the rarest of all Dragon Pokemon in Hoenn. It can only be caught in the depths of Meteor Falls, it's pretty rare even then, and in order to evolve into the Salamence, it's the highest leveling up evolution of all of the Pokemon in Hoenn. Salamence can also learn Strength, although seeing as no Pokemon can learn Strength through level up, the chances are for entry into the chamber, Strength is more of a metaphorical thing than the actual physical move.
Have you noticed any connections? To unlock the Regis, you need Dig, Fly, and Strength. Trapinch can learn Dig, Salamence can learn Fly, and both can learn Strength. Flygon and Salamence are two Pokemon iconically used by the Draconids, an ancient tribe of people who we learned about in the Delta episode, and of which Zinnia is a member.
It seems that the Regi trio was sealed away by the ancient Draconids, which makes a lot of sense when you consider everything so far. It seems that only a worthy Draconid would have even been able to enter these chambers, because having a Pokemon with Fly like Salamence, as I said earlier, is the highest level up Pokemon in all of Hoenn. That would be a worthy trainer. Either that, or they would have had to have caught Rayquaza, the Pokemon that they worship, which would mean they were definitely worthy to take on Regigigas.
It's worth noting that in Emerald version, the tasks you have to complete to unlock the Regis are a bit different. Rock Smash instead of Strength, Flash instead of Fly, and running around the perimeter instead of standing and waiting. All of these can be explained still, just in different ways. Flash could represent someone with a bright heart. Rock Smash could still represent Strength, and both Flygon and Salamence can still learn it. And running around in a pattern could represent self-control. All of these are virtues that someone would need in order to master Regigigas. So now we have mastery of the sea, sky, and land, mastery of Regigigas, and of course, being a great Draconid. It seems like a long way to go to lock away a seemingly weak legendary, but when you think about how Groudon and Kyogre's battle shaped Hoenn, that's nothing compared to Regigigas, who is said to be able to move continents with ropes. But anyways, there's one final ritual that you have to go through in order to unlock Regigigas, and that is having a nicknamed Regice holding an ice item.
It seems though that as well as all of these honourable traits, the one thing that you would really need to access Regigigas is friendship with your Pokemon, and that's what this final safeguard is for. All of the Pokemon in these rituals are being used like tools, and no Draconid would really want a trainer who's going to use their legendary Pokemon as a means to an end to take control of this Regigigas, because what if they use it like a tool? This is the ultimate safeguard against anyone with evil intent who would want to use Regigigas as a tool for destruction. Only a trainer who can see the legendary Pokemon they've caught not as tools but as friends, who could take their Regice and be like, I think I will call you Olaf. Only someone with a good heart who is friendly with their Pokemon and sees their Pokemon as friends should be allowed to encounter such a great creature. We believe that over 2,000 years ago, when the battles between Kyogre and Groudon raged on, the Pokemon that the Draconids feared the most was Regigigas, and they sealed it away in the hopes that one day a great trainer like yourself, the player, would come along and set it free.
So there we have it. Now you know why you have to go through all these strange rituals in order to unlock the Regis. Or at least you know what Toby and I think the reasons are. It definitely was a lot of effort to put the powerful Regigigas away, but it turns out it may not actually be the most deadly of the Regis.
That's actually true. I believe Regice to be the most deadly of all the Regis. In fact, I've already made a video over on my channel about how Regice could kill you. But I'll let you check that out at the end of the video.
What did you think of this video? Do you think our reasoning is legitimate? What are some other Pokemon questions you want me to answer? Let me know in the comments below! And if you like this video, be sure to hit like, follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and subscribe if you haven't. Alright, that's all I have for now, so be sure to go check out Keeper Toby, and until next time, Poke fans. Gotta catch them all!